Hello again. Hello, hello. All right, ladies, we are going to try and paint the water heater. The new one is in. Should have hot water in about 20 minutes or so, but everything went great. So sorry I'm running a few minutes late. Just had to deal with that. Let me go ahead and let's get us pulled up over here on my iPad to make sure that we're here. 20 minutes or so. Yes. Everything went great. So mute because I don't want to hear me. All right, so say hello when you come on, and let's make sure everything is working. Today we're going to be painting a Kleenex box or tissue box, not necessarily Kleenex, but tissue box. And I'm not going to paint the inside of this one. I'm going to paint the bottom of it. But I did on the others, I did paint the inside, but I think I'm going to leave this one just as is. I'll put some sealer on it when I get through, but I've already gone ahead and base coated the top and 3 of the sides, just kind of what we call slip slapping it on. That's what we're going to do. But before we get into that, I just wanted to let you know real quick, go back and watch the video that I did just before this one. I did it at noon, revealing the spring workshop project that we're going to do. It gives you all the details on what you'll get in your project, what we're going to be doing, when it is, and how to get registered. Several of you have already registered since the video, so that's great. But let me go ahead and show you. This is what we're going to be painting. This is an 11 by 14, and it's called Penny's Lane. But go back and watch the video for more details on that, and I'll tell you who the designer is of this pattern in that video, and different options that you can do with it. It's a framed piece of wood, and that's one of the things that you'll get in your kit. The workshop is only $40, and that includes everything. So go back. Whoops, let's sit it down over here. There we go. So go back and watch that video. So I'm not going to say any more about that. Go back and watch the video that I did at noon, giving you all of the information on that. Hi, Charlie. Hello, hello. So go back and watch the video on that I did at noon, telling you about the spring workshop and showing you the project and telling you what you're going to get in your kit and how to register. So that's going to be a fun one. I cannot wait to get started. That's the second time I've painted it. So when I paint it with you that join, that will be the 3rd time, and I plan on putting it on either a sweatshirt or an apron or denim jacket. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so what we're going to do today, and again, I'm Pam Savage, owner of Young at Heart Creations. Welcome to my craft room. Hi, Terry. Hello, hello. So if you're just hopping on, watch the video I just did before this for all of the goody details of that workshop. Okay, so I've already done this, all sides, but this one as far as base coating. And a lot of times I'll use the blue and white to do this. I'll use different colors, but for this background, I decided to go with Williamsburg blue and winter blue. So those are the 2 colors that I'm using right now. So I saved one of the sides to do with you so you could see how we're doing this. And I'm not even quite sure what I'm putting around on each side yet, but we'll get there. We'll decide as we go. Seems to be the way of the world right now. Just decide as you go. So I'm going to put a little bit of that. I don't need a whole lot because we're just doing that one side. So I'm putting a little bit of that Williamsburg blue and winter blue. And again, you could use blue and white, whatever color that you want to use. I'm just kind of giving it a wintry sky background look because we're going to be doing a snowman on. Oh, okay. Hold, please. Let me pull you up here so you'll have something to look at. I forgot my water. Hang on just a second. We didn't have any water until about 15 minutes ago, so I forgot to grab it. So let me go grab my water. It has been one of those kind of days. But I'm so relieved to have that hot water heater in and to have water again. I haven't had water all day. And when you don't have water and you're a painter, those just don't work. Also, before we get started, I know you can't read my shirt, but it says, I can't remember everything it says. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Down here it says be kind. And then it says autism awareness. Today is National Autism Awareness Day. And you all know that I have somebody very, very dear to me that I love with all my heart that has mild autism. And so I'm wearing the shirt in his honor today. And I got this on teachersgram.com. But anyway, so National Autism Awareness Day. And if you know someone that has autism, you know how precious they are. And we are learning still all about it and trying to, you know, make ourselves very knowledgeable of it. And so anyway, I thought I'd wear my shirt today for autism awareness. All right, so I've already done these sides. And we're going to go ahead and do this one. My brush is a little damp, and I'm just using a 1-inch flat brush. And I'm going to just dip it in that Williamsburg blue and then also in the winter blue. So I've got both colors on my brush. Okay, so I'm going to bring you down a little bit. Hi, Cherry, or Cherry, I'm not sure how to say it. Hi, Sybil. Sybil has already registered for the, no, I'm sorry. Sybil got some Dippin' Dotties. And, okay, I see several on here that are already in the group. So for the spring workshop, the next workshop coming up, though, that is closed, but we will be doing it, is the hats. Off to Creativity, painting the hats. So that's the next one up. But I want to go ahead and get this one, the spring one, started, registration started, so that we could get everything ordered and get it boxed up. Okay, so I've got both colors on there. You can put it on one half one color, one half the other color. I've just got them both mixed in there. And I am literally just going to start slip slapping. Now this is the first coat, so you want to make sure that you get plenty on there to get it in down into those grooves. So I'm going to go ahead and do my edge first, and then we'll come back and put some more on it. And you have to be kind of careful because this might kind of splatter a little bit if you're not careful. And I wasn't being very careful. And I want to well, I got paint on the inside of it. I didn't realize I was doing that. So I may put a little paint on the inside of it just so it will be nice. Okay, so again, I'm just dipping one side there, other side in that lighter color. Going all different directions, but the grain is going this way, so I'm making sure that I'm getting it in the every little inch of that grain, because after it dries, if you don't get it all down in there, you're going to have some spots, and we may dry it and go back and see, oops, that dried, and now I can see the wood through it. Okay, so that's pretty solid. So I'm going to go back in with a little more. There's a little bit that didn't cover. And it looks covered at first. So I'm going to add a little more of that light blue. And just work it in all different directions. I don't want to blend it in to where it just looks like one color. I want this to kind of look blustery, like maybe the wind's blowing. We are supposed to get, I'm in North Texas, and we are supposed to get some pretty heavy storms tonight into tomorrow. Okay, that's how quick I got that on there. Hi, Heather. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom, and we'll get it dry too. And then I'll decide if I want to go inside that or not, or just go in and clean it up. Adding some of that other blue in there. It's not going to matter on this because it's going to be sitting on the bottom. You're not even going to see it. But if I don't paint it, I'm going to know it's there and not finished. Okay, so I'm going to wash that out, and let's get it good and dry. Hi, Gina. Hello, Miss Brenda. Oh, I'm so glad you're excited. Hi, Diana. I'm excited about it. It's a fun one to paint, and it is a little more detailed than what I typically teach. Online anyway, but we're going to go step by step, and you get the step-by-step instructions. The videos will be available for 30 days, so you can do it at your own pace. All right, get this dry. I can remember which side I just painted. And no two sides are going to look exactly alike. Okay, so I think we'll put the face on this side. So I'm going to take my very expensive tool that gives me perfect circles. You can find them anywhere. And no, it is not expensive. I use lids for all different size lids. I have a little bucket over here full of them. I don't want to try to get a perfect circle. I'm not going to stress out over that. I'm just going to use whatever I've got. So this is off of a chicken tortilla soup. And so I just went through my lids and thought, okay, I think that'll be the size that I want. So let's go ahead and get his face. And I'm using a chalk pencil. And I think on one side, and we probably won't finish this today, but one side I'm going to put a spare nose. So I'll paint just a nose, and then on one side I might do a hat, and then maybe some snowballs on one side. We'll just have to see. Okay, I'm going to base coat it in bleached sand, and then we'll go over it with some white. Let me get a little bit smaller brush. Okay, I think that one will work. I may switch to a little bit bigger one, we'll see. Okay, so this is bleached sand. First coat will take a little more paint. Second coat always goes on easier. Now you see how I'm doing my brush in little strokes like that at the beginning? That's to get most of the paint that when you dip in the paint, it's kind of built up on it. I don't want to get a ridge, so I just kind of get a little bit of that paint off. And I may go shade the edges of this in a darker blue. Okay, Gina, if you want to sign up for the that workshop, send me an email, and that email is youngheartcreations@icloud.com. Same one you've been using. youngheartcreations@icloud.com, and tell me you would like to sign up for the spring workshop. And then I will send you a payment invoice. And once you've paid, I'll send you an invite to the page, to the group page, and get you in. Okay, it's kind of looking like a moon right now. I'm trying to get down in all those little grooves. I'm using an angle brush, 1/2-inch angle. You could also do it with a flat. And y'all can go ahead and start emailing me on that workshop. I've got some errands to run when I finish this, so it may be a little later when I send your invoice, or I may take a few minutes and get as many as I can done before I run my errands. Okay, so we got that. Looks very flat over here. I need to round it out a little bit. All right, let's get it dry and put our second coat on, and it is starting to look really stormy out there. Clouds are getting heavier and heavier. We're supposed to we could get up to 4 inches of rain. Okay, Gina, thank you. So Gina's gonna go sign up right now. I think it's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be very detailed. But there are even more details that you can add, and we'll go into that in the workshop. I'm trying to keep it as basic as I can so that everybody can do it, and then I'll give you lots of suggestions on how you can even add more details to it. Okay, gonna go in with the second coat. So we've got the water heater fixed now, and the brakes on Mr. Pam's truck need to be replaced. So that will be next week. But they said they could do it in one day. Now this wood, just like the wood on the spring project, it gets little whiskers in it, I guess you would say, little feathery things when that wood is raised. When you get it wet, that with the grain in it tends to pop up. I'm going to dry that. I'm going to put one more coat on it. I was telling them the last time we did one of these, you can use it as a tissue box. Or you could set it up like this and put things in it. You could put in a bathroom and put makeup brushes or lotions or paint brushes, all kinds of things you could put in it. You could put a plant in it. So you don't have to use it as a tissue box. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit of water in my brush and just put one more quick coat on it. Now I'm using bleach sand because I'm gonna go over it in white. Maybe do a little bit of pouncing. And then we'll do some shading around it. Okay, we'll wash that out a little bit. Okay, so I want to get it good and dry. Let's see, do I want to use a pouncing brush? And a sponge brush. Okay, I think that's dry enough. I'm going to put out some white. And this is just plain white. I should have gotten one of my sea sponges. I didn't think about that. I thought the plumber was going to be here. Well, he was an hour late. So that threw me off on everything. Okay, I did have a bigger one. So I'm not as prepared as I typically am before I go live. Let's try this little one. Okay, I'm just going to use this stencil brush. I had a bigger one, but I don't see it over there. So I'm putting it on. And let's see if I'm going to like that. I don't think I'm going to go in circles here. Okay, I don't think I like that. That's not really what I'm going for. So let's try this. Just got a pouncer. I just want to give him a little texture. Okay, I think I like that better. Now, if I'd have started it in white, I couldn't make it look lighter. I wouldn't have anywhere to go. White's as white as you can go. So that's why I did it in the bleached sand. So we could pounce that white on it. And there's several different ways you can do this. I don't want to cover up all of the bleached sand. I want some of it showing through. And I'll go back and touch up where I've got a little bit of white outside the circle. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit more. So if you're just hopping on, go watch the video I just did before this one, revealing the spring project and giving you all the details on how to sign up for that. Okay, I think that's enough. It gives us a little texture. Smooth a little bit of that out. Okay, so I'm done with that. I'm going to drop that in the water. Let's use some deep midnight blue on the inside of that face. Or do I just want to use... Nope, I think I'm going to use the Williamsburg blue that we used on the base coat. Let's see what it looks like doing some shading with that. Let's make sure that's dry because I don't want it getting everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to go with that Williamsburg blue. And we'll see if, look at it and see if I need to go darker. Because it may blend in too much with that outside. I think we're good because we've got enough white in this that it's showing up. So I think we'll be okay. I'll let it dry and take a look at it. So I'm just dipping the corner of my brush. Just a little triangle. And I'm just blending it, and I don't always blend it, but I'm just kind of blending it on the side, just to kind of work it down in the brush. Okay, let me look at that and see what I think. Okay, I'm going to try a little bit of this deep midnight blue. And see if I like it better. Let's do it down here at the bottom. Okay, it does show up a little bit better, so let's go around it once or so with that. So I'm just putting some water on it right now. It does show up a lot better. I have not had breakfast or lunch yet, so you may hear my stomach growling. I was afraid to sit down and start eating because I knew the minute I did, Mr. Plumber would be knocking on my door. Then with him running late, I knew I didn't have time to sit down and eat and then do this. So I'm going to eat a snack when I get done. I'm going to walk this one out just a little bit. Okay, I think that's good enough. All right, he shows up a lot better. All right, let's get that dry. So I don't wipe it off. And I think I will, after the live, probably go around with that deep midnight blue. And do the edges. So I'll put some snowflakes on here too. So there'll be quite a bit of details on this one. We may have to do this one in two videos or more. Everybody got big plans for Easter weekend? They said Sunday is supposed to be nice here, but that we will have storms most of tomorrow. And lots of rain. Some places have tornado threats. So we could get lots of hail. I'm going, no, I just put my little baby flowers out. Okay, so a little bit darker. I'll probably have to go over it again. I don't know. It looks like it's doing okay. By the time we get the snowflakes and everything on there, I think it will be fine. Hi, Tammy. Love the deep midnight blue and the Payne's gray too. It is so pretty to shade with. I'm getting it all over my arm though. I don't know if you can see it, but because I didn't dry it. Wiping everything off, I just did. Okay, so I think that's good enough. That looks pretty wintry. All right, let's get that dry. While we're getting it dry, if you're just hopping on, go back and watch the video I did at noon to learn about this workshop. It's gonna be so much fun. Okay, let's get this dry so we can get the little face on. I may be able to get 3 videos, 3 lives out of this one. let's take a pencil and decide where I want his little nose. I want it to be in the center, about right there. Okay, so I want the eyes to be, I'm going to do this very lightly. Let's go ahead and get the nose on. I can't use my white pencil since we did it in white. That's not going to show up my chalk pencil, but I could get, because I don't like using pencil a lot on the colors that it won't cover real well. Let me grab a piece of other chalk, colored chalk. So anybody watching have a loved one that has autism? Today is National Autism Day, and I wore my autism shirt that reminds you to be kind. Okay, so I got a piece of little purple chalk, and we're going to use that. So I'm going to make a backwards C. Just to kind of get the placement of the nose. And then we'll do a mouth down here as well. Okay, I'm not crazy about how that met up, so we're gonna dry it a little bit, and then we'll come back over here and go up a little sooner. Okay, now then the eyes. How do I want to do these eyes? All right, let's just do, okay, so there's basically our face. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the nose first. And I'm going to use pumpkin or spiced pumpkin to base coat it with. And I'm going to use this is a Keep Smiling Royal Langnickel number, well, it's a quarter inch angle. And I may switch to a round here in just a minute. So I'm going to make some bumps. I like a bumpy nose for my snowman. And then we're just going to come right out to a point. Instantly, when you put that orange nose on, you know what it is. Just changes him completely. Okay, let's dry that and put a second coat on. I heard somebody yesterday on a live saying they had gotten snow yesterday. It's just been a crazy weather year all the way around. Gina, your grandson is autistic. Okay. So you can celebrate this day, the love of your grandson. And Vicki says she would hunt Easter eggs in the rain if we could get some, if you could get some rain. Oh, we need it too. We're really behind on our rain totals. Really need it. Okay, and I think 2 coats is going to be plenty on this. We'll dry it and see. I want to get it good and dry because I'm going to do a little bit of highlight of yellow in it. Okay, put a little bit more. I like painting snowmen. And there's so many ways you can do their little faces. So many different expressions. Okay, I got way too much paint out there, so I'm going to put a little bit of it back in. I don't like to waste it. Okay, that should do it. Now let's get let's highlight it just a little bit with some yellow. This is Folk Art Tangerine. Pretty thick compared to Deco Art. Okay, so I used one of my makeup brushes from Dollar Tree, and some of them I ordered off of Amazon, Wet n Wild. See if that's going to be bright enough. Should be. We'll go for it. So I'm going to really work it down into that brush. But then on my napkin, I'm going to get most of it off. Oh, look at that. I made a heart. Didn't even try. All right, let's put a little bit right down the center. Oh yeah, that'll show up. Just to give him a little highlight. Okay, I'm going to put that brush in the water. Now I'm going to take burnt orange and do some shading. You could also use brown, like burnt umber, dark chocolate, or something like that. But we're going to see if this will be dark enough. If not, then we can always go to our brown. Okay, so I'm using that angle. brush, a larger angle brush that we used a minute ago. And I like to go down where the hump goes down, go down into the carrot. Down into about the center of the carrot. And then all the way out. Okay, look at the difference in the top and the bottom. Red is sometimes a good color to use too, depending on the orange that you're using. Okay, so I'm going to get the bottom a little moist. And we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Come up into about the middle of the carrot. Okay, look how pretty that nose is. Just those three colors. No, it is only now 37 weeks until Christmas. So you think, why are you painting snowmen? And because if you do craft shows, you have to stay ahead of the game. All right, let's work on these eyes. Just need a little bit of black. Well, actually, first we're going to go ahead and fill them in with some white. Oops, I still got some orange in it. Switch brushes here. I just want it really white down at the bottom of the eye. Doesn't matter so much up top because it'll be black. Let's see how close those eyes are to being anywhere near the same, because I didn't use a pattern, I just kind of guessed at it. So I may have to adjust a little bit here. All right, I think they're close enough. Okay, so we're going to go down a little bit. Just make a U And that's where the black will be, above that. And then we will do some very, very lightly. Oh, let's use this chalk. I don't even think we'll need that. Okay, and let's do the black. See if I can use this angle. I may need to switch to a round. Yeah, I think it will. Okay, so I'm switching to a round. And even though it's black, it's going to take a couple of coats. Just kind of outlining it there to see where I need to go. You have to be careful and not get too much water on these because of the wood grain. Kind of makes it bleed a little bit. It's like having little rivers in the wood, and the stream wants to go, the paint wants to go like a stream, whatever direction that's going in. Now, you may look like a ghost here for a minute until we get the rest of the eyes on, the rest of the details on it. All right, not exact, but close enough. I've seen those little eye stencils, I guess you would call them. I thought about getting some. But I don't know who has them. And I'll think about it while I'm doing this, and then I forget. Okay, so now we're going to go in with some of that winter blue. Give him some baby blue eyes, or winter blue eyes. Okay, y'all, my stomach sounds like a wild animal under this table. I hope y'all are not hearing all of that. Okay, I'm painting these eyes upside down, so I hope they're halfway the same. let's touch it up a little bit with that black. I went too far up in there. Just kind of clean it up a little bit. Okay, so there's what we've got so far. Now I want to switch to my Nitty Bitty liner. And if you don't have one of these, Hobby Lobby usually carries them, not always, but I have gone on to Amazon and gotten them. It's a 10-0 liner, little bitty liner, but it's great for outlining and for doing lashes. It doesn't have very many bristles in it at all. All right, let's see if I can get... I get really quiet when I'm lining. Okay, I think we need to go out just a little further with this line. Okay, so there's what we've got so far. Okay. Just holding my tongue just right. All right, now let's do some eyelashes. Gotta do some eyebrows first, though. Okay, so I'll do a long one and a short one. Long one and a short one and a long one and a short one and a long one. And I'm going to go up, down, and straight out. Let's put some little bitty ones in between here. Okay, same thing over here, only we're going to go the opposite direction. Little one, long one, little one, long one. And then some little bitty ones in between. right up, down, and out. All right, now let's make the little eye twinkle. So we're going to do a T. And a little X. A T. X. And I'm just going to take the end of my brush, the handle, and we're going to put a little dot. Okay, and let's take some coral and do some little cheeks. I've got a little bit smaller brush, eye makeup brush. And work it down in there. Let's give him some little cheeks right here. And that one doesn't want to do very good. It's about had it. Let's get one of these bigger ones. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to shade a little bit of that underneath the eye. So let's do his mouth. Now I'm going to switch to one of my 30 liners. Let's look at the difference. Little bitty and very long. And we'll get our mouth on. Now, we could leave it just like that. But I want to add like an open mouth. And let's fill that in. And I'm going to go back to my little angle brush. And gives it such a different personality. You can leave the mouth just that one line. I think I want a round. Or open mouth. You can do a side mouth. It just changes the whole personality. And then we'll put a little tongue in there. Oh, y'all, I had my first hummingbirds a couple of days ago. They've been out on the feeders like crazy. Hi, Francis. Hello, hello. I'm always excited when my hummingbirds come back. And I know they've been on such a long journey. I always make sure I put the feed out, their water out a couple of weeks ago. And started watching for them. So I saw them a couple of days ago, so I went out and got that water, made them some fresh, and they have been going crazy on it. All right, let me put that right side up. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker over here. Just to kind of even it out. All right, let's take some of that white. And we're just going to make a little M. And then we'll go over it in the red. I finally decided on, for the craft show, I wasn't sure what price I was going to put on these, but I think because there is so much painting on them, that I'm going to put them in the show for $20. And then whatever does not sell, or what I end up not taking to the craft show because I've got too much to carry, then we'll try and have a live sale, online live sale for all of you guys. Okay, so I'm going to take Tuscan Red. And go back over that now with red. And we'll underline underneath it in black again to make it look like it's inside the mouth. Guess a lot of people are still working today. Gotta be careful with those eye dots because they're not completely dry. And I think I'm probably going to put some pine needles up here, little pine branches. Sybil, if you're still on here, as soon as I finish the live and eat a little bite, I'm going to go mail your Dippin' Dotties. I got all of them from the maker, got them packaged today. So they are ready to go out. Okay, let's dry that and then we'll put, let's line that black back underneath it. Okay, now that made it look like it was back inside the mouth. Without that black under it, it just looked like the tongue was kind of hanging out. And let's take a little bit of white and put on the top of the clean sparkle a little bit. Kind of hard with these little ridges to get them exactly like you want them. But these are very good quality. I really, really like them. The wood is really, really nice. Okay, and we can take a little bit of that Williamsburg blue and make some little lines down here. In the eyes. Ooh, that wind's picking up out there. Alrighty, looks pretty happy. Okay, let's get some brown. And some greens. All right, let's make some quick little branches. And then we'll do some snowflakes too. So I'm going to go back to my, well, actually I'm going to go to a little bit smaller liner, a little bit shorter one. All right, and let's make some little branches coming We'll just make them come from the top of this. And then most of the pine needles are going to cover it up. Most of the brown, so it doesn't really make a lot of difference. Okay, so there we go with that. Let's try our little bitty brush here. And we'll start out with the darkest green, Hauser Dark Green. And just start making some little needles. And this wood is pretty dry, so you might have to add a little bit of water here and there to your brush to kind of wet your paint down a little bit if you've got that problem. So I start out at the tip of the branch and go down with one, and then I just come out both sides and I just kind of crisscross them. And I'm adding a little more water to my paint because it's dragging. There's another branch right here, so I'm going to go down. Then I'm going to go right across those that I just did. And then out to the other side. And the darkest color I usually use the most of, I make it a thicker layer because we're going to go over it with two different more colors. But you can already see it starting to look like a pine branch. Just go right up into that next little crook where the next one meets. And again, I'm just crisscrossing them and just flicking them out like I would the eyelashes on the eye that we just did. Get up in here with some of that green. And we'll put some berries up there too to kind of hide that branch where it starts. Dipping back into the water. And you can tell when your paint starts kind of dragging. Just redip, reload. And just fill it in. You don't want it real sparse because again, you're going to go over it with the lighter colors. really starts to come to life when you put all the other colors on too, to make it look like some new needles coming out. Okay, let's get these over here on that other side. Now I don't want to go right down into the eye, so I'm going to stop right there on that one. And then you don't put as much of the other color, two colors on, so it goes faster with the second and third color. You could stop with just the next lighter color, but I just like to give it a little more dimension. And I just accidentally got some of that green on there. There we go. Okay, let me look at it. Okay, so there's first color. Now we're going to switch to the Hauser medium green. And we won't use quite as much of this one. Just here and there, because you don't want to cover up all the ones that you just did. And I'm just going in random motions here. I mean, directions out on both sides. Just making sure each branch and each side gets a little bit of this color too. Not covering all that dark green up. Okay, so there's with a second color. Now we're going to go even bolder with citron green. So here's our base on the needles. Here's our second color, and here's our third color. Okay, so dry that just a little. And you'll use even less of this one. Now, I don't know if pine needles really get all these colors when they're putting on new needles, but in the paint world, it gives it a whole nother layer in depth and just adds to your painting. Okay, let's dry that, and let's put a little bit of snow on it before we add our cherries. So I'm just going to take the round brush, dip it in the paint, and just kind of where the branches are curving down, making a little spot where the snow would gather. I'm just adding a little bit of snow here and there, not on the whole branch. All right, now we want to do our cherries. Or berries, not cherries. And I think I'm just going to use the end of this brush because it's just about the right size. So I'm just getting it right on the tip of that. We're going to put a big one right there. I'm re-dipping. And then we can even put some well, I think I'll stop up here. So I'm making them touch, but then with some shading, we'll separate them. So I'm going to set these. I'm not going to try to dry them completely because they'll bubble up on me. But I'm going to dry them just enough to where the paint is not dripping. And while we're waiting on that to finish, let's go ahead and do some snowflakes. You could also just splatter paint it if you wanted to. Remember a T and an X in the middle. And we'll come back and dot them. And T and X. Remember, it's a TX, not a T-Rex. And I think 4 will be plenty. All right, let me get one of my Dippin' Dotties. Whoops, I gotta watch those berries. And we're just gonna put some little dots on here. And you can make these as fancy as you wanted to. You could put more than one dot on each end. You could do some dry brush highlighting behind them, but we're not going to get that fancy. Coming alive. Now you could have splattered this background before we started putting our little face on here. All right, let's go ahead and set these. Thank you, Diana. I like for them to look happy. Oops, I see a dot I missed. Where's my Peggy Wilson to tell me I missed one? Okay, very easily, very gently. I'm going to take a small angle brush and I'm going to put a little bit of black on it. And at the bottom of the berries, because they're not completely dry, but I'm going to put a little bit of black. They're not very dry at all. You have to let them just dry on their own a little more. Let's see if I can. Okay. Now I want to take my little bitty liner brush. I got a little bit too much on this one, so I'm going to take that red. And let's put some little white highlights at the top. And I think I want to put some snow on his nose. Just going to grab this angle brush that I've got out here. Okay, and I think we're going to call that side of it done. Let me pull you back up here. Okay, so that's that side. So on one of these sides, I'm going to paint another nose, or I might paint 2 or 3 noses and put at the top here spare noses, and might put some maybe some snowballs on this one, and maybe a hat or a mitten or something on this one. I'm not sure yet. So we may be painting this one for the next 2 or 3 times. I've got some errands I've got to run, or I would just stay and paint longer. But anyway, that's the beginning of that one, and I don't think it'll take us long to finish. That one will have the most details on it, and then we'll decide what we're going to do on the, I know I'm going to do some noses, and then we'll decide what we're going to do. I may just do a big snowflake and some snowballs. I'm not sure. I'll think about it between now and then. But again, thank you so much for joining me. And don't forget to go back and watch the video I did right before this one, telling you all the details about this workshop. Isn't that adorable? It's called Penny's Lane. Mine says Grammy's House, half mile. You can put whatever you want to on yours. But anyway, that will be our spring workshop. So go back and watch the video on that one. This is right before this one, and you'll get all the details and how to register on that. So that's it for today. You learned how to slip slap. I don't even know if that's a real word, but we slip slapped today. Aren't you proud of yourself? You slip slapped. And then we did some shading. We did some highlighting. We did some berries. So we did a lot of things. And your T-Rex TX snowflakes. So, all right, there you go, ladies. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for joining me. I have hot water again. Today I didn't have any water today for, well, almost the whole day until about an hour or so ago. All right, have a wonderful, wonderful Easter weekend. And don't forget, if you know somebody that has autism, to call them and let them know you love them today, or just give them a special extra hug. All right, love y'all. Bye-bye.